Welcome to Ultimate Studios Inc. Live from North Hollywood. All right. Here we go. Let's see. That's not what I wanted. All right. God damn it. All right. Here we go. And is it playing? Yeah, there we go. Okay. So today, 3 modes, right? 3 minor modes. They're probably dark sounding, obviously. Minor is usually dark. It's sad. We have a minor third in all 3 modes. And the other notes that change are a second and a 6th degree. So let's just look at what each one is. So I'll be doing it in E. So E is a guitar player's favorite. So E minor. And I'll be going through the 3 modes. So it'll be E natural minor or E Aeolian, then E Dorian, and E Phrygian. Now, when you look at it and where they are in the sequence of the modes, the first one is obviously major. Then the second one is Dorian, right? It's the second mode in the major scale. Then the third one is the Phrygian mode. And then you got Lydian, then you got Mixolydian, and the 6th mode, that's the natural minor mode, Aeolian. So what is the characteristic of each one? So let's start with natural minor, E natural minor. Root, second, flat 3. Obviously, to make it minor, it has to have a flat 3. 4 and 5, flat 6, flat 7, and 1. So basically, flat 3, flat 6, and flat 7. Now, when you go to Dorian, there's one note that changes. We got, that's the same. And then we got a C sharp, which is a natural 6. So what is E Dorian is the second mode in which key? In D major. So if you play D major, you got 2 sharps. You got F sharp, and you got C sharp. Now, when you play that from the E note, you got E Dorian. And before I continue, E natural minor is the G major scale. So that's the 6th mode, and it's just 1 sharp. So you're going from 1 sharp in E natural minor to 2 sharps in E Dorian. Then what happens with E Phrygian? With E Phrygian, that's the 3rd mode in the major key. And you get to C major. So C major means no sharps, no flats. So basically, you're going from 1 sharp to 2 sharps, and then to no sharps whatsoever. So what do we got? We got E, and we got a flat 2. That's the dark note. Then you got minor 3, 4, 5, flat 6, flat 7. So Phrygian is probably metal's favorite mode because we got a lot of famous riffs. Right? Very famous Megadeth tune. And that's really honing in on that flat 2. There's a lot of stuff from Metallica, right? Also having that flat 2 everywhere. It's basically metal's favorite mode, right? That's like, right? It's very, very, very dark, very almost aggressive. Okay, so natural minor is, it's just average, right? It's just sad. You got just normal, right? It's just sad, right? Now when you go to Dorian, so what's a chord that works in a Dorian sound? We can do an E minor 6 chord. So how you do that? You can do it like that. Now, if you create a chord progression, the most common chord progression for Dorian, like I explained last week, is the 1 minor, then to the 4 dominant. There's one artist who made a career out of Dorian, which is Santana, and you know, a lot of tunes is like. All right. So in the chord progression that I'm going to do today, where I'm going to put all three modes together, I'll be going minor first. So I'll just be playing an E minor. That's what I have in the sequencer, just an E minor chord. Then I'll go to an F sharp minor triad, or an F sharp minor 7 triad, which has the notes F sharp, C sharp, that's the note I need, right? It's that regular 6, E, and an A. So it's F sharp minor. It's almost like an A6 chord. Right? I can also call it A6 over E. Right? So basically, that's where the backing track goes to harmonically. So I got an E minor, and then I go an F sharp minor, but I'm not moving the bass, right? That's where I get the color from, right? With not moving the bass. So whenever I hear that chord, which is after 2 bars, I'll go to Dorian sound. Right? And then on the second portion, because I go back to E minor, then I'll do an E minor triad. Sorry, a D minor triad over E. Now, why do I do that? Because on the D minor, I have that famous flat 2. Very, very dark, very clashy. And then I got a D, which is the minor 7 in the key. And then I got an A, which is the 4. So this is very, very dark. And then I'll play E Phrygian, which is basically C major scale starting on the E note. So let me play one time through so you hear what it sounds like. So just E minor. Here's the Dorian part. Back to E minor. Now comes the Phrygian part. E minor. Now Dorian. Back to E minor. Now Phrygian. And that's pretty much the whole sequence. Now, for some people, it's very hard to picture all this in an instant, right? It's like, oh my God, I got to remember all these keys, you know, the way things change. And I'll show you a nice trick where you can still play what you normally do, and then you just add those money notes, right? Those are the notes that make that mode characteristic. So in the case of Dorian, it will be the natural 6, so in our case C sharp, and when you go to Phrygian, it will be the flat 2, in this case F. Okay? Now, so what do you do when you want to visualize all this? Think first E minor pentatonic, okay, which is basically the most common way of approaching an E minor chord. Just play the minor pentatonic. Right? This is very common. You don't have to think too much about it. You know your patterns, you know your little boxes. Okay, so now what happens when I go to Dorian? It's like, can I think, oh, I have to go to D major? Or can I say, what if I just play the E minor pentatonic and just add the C sharp to it? So here's my E minor pentatonic scale. So where's my C sharp? Right here. And that's the note I'll add without really thinking about a particular scale. I'm just aiming for that note. So I'll be playing E minor pentatonic, and and then I'll go for that C sharp. Right? So my point is, you used E minor pentatonic, which is common. You already have it in your fingers. Finger memory is there. And you got all your licks. And then you just add that note that makes it particular for that mode. That way, I'm not thinking, oh my God, I gotta switch to D major now. And it's like, what pattern should I use? No, use the patterns you already know. It's minor pentatonic. And then add the C sharp. Okay? Now, what other things can you do? Well, you can add arpeggios that bring out that C sharp. You can add an F sharp minor arpeggio, F sharp minor arpeggio, with your E minor arpeggio. So, right? You don't just play constantly in F sharp minor, but you just go through the arpeggio, so to bring out the mode, Dorian. Alright, so then what do you do when you go to Phrygian? Phrygian. Let's look at first the pentatonic part. Same thing, doesn't change. Now, what's the money note in Phrygian? It's the flat 2. And that's the only note I'll add for now if I don't want to play the full scale. So to recap, what do we got? We got E minor pentatonic, and then add the C sharp for Dorian. And then you go back to E minor, and then I'll add the flat 2. All right, so let me play it one time through, and then I'll show you what I'll do with the arpeggios. All right, that was Phrygian. Now, minor again. Now, that was F sharp minor arpeggio. Now the Phrygian part. Now, minor pentatonic. Now Phrygian. So what can you do arpeggio-wise? Arpeggio-wise, this is the fun part. You can grab pretty much every arpeggio that is part of the parent major scale. So when we go to E Phrygian, or D minor over E, I can grab a D minor arpeggio if I want it, because that's the chord that I'm hitting on the machine. I can grab an F, because the F has that F note, which is the flat 2. So you want to grab arpeggios that bring out that sound. Then I can also do half diminished, so B half diminished, which is also part of the C major scale. Now in the case of Dorian, I can use all the arpeggios from the D major scale. Now in D major, you want to bring out arpeggios that have the C sharp in them. A major is one of them. And the other one that I mentioned before was also F sharp minor. And the other one that I have with an F sharp in it, that's B minor. Alright? So, because it's a triad, you have 3 chords with that note. So, in E minor, pentatonic, you just play the pentatonic, or you play the E minor arpeggio, or E minor 7. All right, then it goes to E Dorian, and then in E Dorian I'll play an A major arpeggio if I want it. I can play a F sharp, minor arpeggio, and a B minor arpeggio. All right, and I can also do C sharp diminished. That's a good one. All right, C sharp minor 7 flat 5. So it's all arpeggios that bring out that second chord that I'm using, which is F sharp minor over E. It's basically an F sharp minor 7 inversion. Right? The 7th is in the bass, but our home tonality is still E. And then when I go to the other sound, which is Phrygian, I can use all the arpeggios that I have in C major. So let's play one more time and see what it sounds like. Just E minor, F sharp, back to E minor, D minor, E minor, E minor again, F sharp minor. Dorian, minor, Phrygian. Okay, so are those my only options? No, I can still use other things like pentatonics from the other tonalities. So what's a great example? In the Dorian part, which is the F sharp over E, F sharp minor over E, I can use F sharp minor pentatonic. And then I can come back to E minor pentatonic. So I can combine two pentatonics and then in Phrygian, since I'm using a D minor over E, I can go to D minor pentatonic. Now this is a more, you can call it like, it's a technique where you superimpose pentatonic sounds over chords. Now, when you play it without the chords, it doesn't make a lot of sense, but once you play with the backing track, it makes way more sense. Let's see what it sounds like. Now, E minor pentatonic, F sharp minor pentatonic, back, D minor pentatonic, E minor, F sharp, now D minor, E minor, sharp, E minor, D minor. Right? So it's advanced advanced improv in a sense that you have to be aware of how long each chord or each tonality is. It's not just, hey, I'm going to listen for the change and then react, because a lot of times the ear is going to be way too late, or you're going to get lost in your own licks, and then you don't know where you're at, and you have to wait until you recognize some of the chords. So in this case, I'm always counting the amount of beats that every chord has, and then I'll switch accordingly. So, because if I don't switch, it will sound like I'm not listening to the backing track. So, what are our options? Scales, obviously the full minor scale, the minor pentatonic, then I can play arpeggios, alright, or minor 7 arpeggios, which is almost like pentatonic. Alright, I can grab arpeggios that are part of the full minor scale, can be any diatonic arpeggio. So I can do E minor, F sharp half diminished, G major, A minor, but usually you want to grab the ones that bring the tonality of the chord out. Then for Dorian, I'll go anything that has that C sharp in it. And I can use an A, I can use an F sharp minor, and I can use a C sharp diminished. I can also use the full Dorian scale, which is just D major, but you land on E. And I can use the F sharp minor pentatonic. Okay, then I can also use all the diatonic arpeggios from the D major scale. So it's D, E minor, F sharp minor, G major, A major, B minor, C sharp diminished. All those arpeggios, they all work. Then when I go to Phrygian, I gotta switch keys. So I go to C major, plus the pentatonic from E, then the pentatonic from D minor, because I'm playing a D minor chord over E bass. So I'll play the D minor pentatonic, and then I can play the full C major scale, but with emphasis on the E note. And I can play what I said before, the minor pentatonic with the money note in it. Okay, now let's just play one time through, and I'll use all these tools. Here we go. Dorian, minor, Phrygian, now pentatonic, F sharp, E minor, E minor, arpeggios, D minor, F major, sharp. it's a lot of thinking. But once you get comfortable with all this, it's a lot of fun, because you don't just play E minor for 1 hour. It's like you play 3 modes all in a row, and it's a lot of fun. So this is it for today, and next week we'll be talking about arpeggios and sweeping. So that will be lots of fun. So that's it for today, folks. See you next Wednesday. All 3 minor modes for today, and next Wednesday arpeggios, sweeping. Here we go.